Welcome to Clayton Valley Presbyterian Church. I'm Kathleen. I'm one of the Godly Play teachers, and I'm glad to have you with us today. Here in our sacred space, we come to be close to the stories. We typically come here from the sanctuary when we're able to meet together. A teacher will greet each person at the door before we enter this room. As we come to the circle called by name, one by one, we make ourselves ready. We make our mouths still and our hands still and our bodies still. And then we have to do something important. We have to remember, where are we in the seasons of the church year? And so we go to the calendar. One of the people at the circle will help us know where we are in the great circle of the church year. And of course, we're in the season of Lent, the great purple time. We come back to the circle and get ready to find out which story is the one for us today. Will it be one from one of the stories behind me, the stories of how we worship? Will it be one from the parables or the sacred stories? As we get ready, and the teacher always greets us, "The Lord be with you." We hope the Lord will be with us as we hear just what's in that story for us today. So watch. I'm going to go over to the sacred stories as we explore during Lent this time in Jesus' life, as we wonder who he really was and who we really are. I need this whole big basket. It's not very heavy, but I like to be sure that I'm holding it carefully so that we don't have anything fall out. I need that, and I need something else for this story. Some of you might remember what's in the story for us today. I bet you know, some of you, where this story happens. Someplace green and growing. This time of year, things are starting to turn green and growing, aren't they? But you know when you see this, where we must be. For this is the Sea of Galilee. So many important things happened next to the Sea of Galilee that we keep this piece of it in our room to help us remember those stories. Jesus and his friends, Peter, James, and John, they had come across the Sea of Galilee to rest a little, but of course, as always, people knew they were coming. And so people began to gather. They came down to the sea when their boat had come in. They came down to come close to Jesus, to hear him. And of course, Jesus wasn't just a teacher. He was also a healer. People came down just to be near him because they hoped to be healed themselves, to learn how he healed others. People gathered around him very, very closely. And then Jairus approached Jesus. Please, Jesus, you must come with me now. Come to my home for my daughter, who is only 12 years old. She is dying. Jesus felt it in his heart when he heard Jairus' voice. But he said, Jairus, keep your faith. And he followed Jairus up the hill. The crowd followed too. And in the crowd, the throng of people gathering as close to Jesus as they could so they could hear him and be close to him, there was a woman. In that crowd of people, she had been sick for years, and doctors could not help her. She thought if she could just get close enough to Jesus, that she could be healed. And so, as they made their way toward Jairus' house, where his daughter lay sick and dying, she got close enough to touch Jesus' robe, and he knew it instantly. Jesus turned around. Who touched me, he said. Well, his friends said, what do you mean, who touched you? There's a huge crowd of people here. Everybody's crowding around us. How could you ask, who was it? The woman was a little afraid because in those days, if you were sick, you were not to touch other people. We know how that is, don't we? But she was honest, and she came forward and she told Jesus, it was I. I have suffered for so long. I wanted to be close to you and be healed. And Jesus said, daughter, because you believed, you are healed. And in that moment, she knew that she was well. But just then, someone ran down from the house and said that Jairus' daughter had died. Jairus was overwhelmed, but Jesus said, Jairus, be strong. And they continued up to the house. Jesus went into the house along with his friends. And with the family. And he reached out and put his hand on the girl and said, little one, get up. And indeed, she sat up. And Everyone was amazed. He spoke to her, and she answered. And then he said to the family, "Go get her something to eat, for she'll be hungry." I wonder, what part of this healing of two daughters, the older one and the younger one, what part do you like the best? I wonder if there's a part of this story that might be about you. And the crowd of people who wondered who this man Jesus could really be, and if he could heal them. Jairus, who despaired but hoped all at once for the love of his child. I wonder if you've ever been filled with wonder. That's something that was beyond what you could hope for. I wonder if there's something in this story that makes you continue to wonder. About what happened in that room, what happened at that hillside. So in the week ahead, I hope that you'll continue to wonder and to hold this story close in your heart. And until we come again to the circle, may the Lord bless you and keep you.